They don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD and Melissa.
Hey guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD with my wonderful co-host.
Melissa, hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm super excited to have Brent on today. Super.
Yeah, I'm really stoked too, especially, unrelated to this. Last night at one of our meetups, the speaker was there talking Brent up to all of the people. So I'm sure he's going to get an influx of new members looking for his awesome content.
Yes.
Today on our show, for you guys that don't know, we have Brent Bowers. He leads the Rhino Tribe. He's a land wholesaling coach. He's doing his own deals. And I think we're going to have a ton of value, especially probably for you newer wholesalers or newer investors looking to acquire some land I guess the strategies work for every aspect of wholesaling, but I think we're going to get a lot of good info. Brent, thanks for being on our show, man.
Welcome.
Melissa, JD, what a warm welcome. I'm also going to have to reach out to JD Mills for sharing the love last night. Man, such a go-giver, great guy. Thanks so much for telling me that. We're in a very small world here. It's like I've never been in another business where there was so much collaboration. When I was a real estate agent, and I know you are, Melissa, would you agree there's not as much collaboration as there is in the investor industry?
Definitely no.
Between agents?
It's really difficult to do that transition back and forth. That's so true. Yeah.
It is.
We just picked up a flip property from a wholesaler out of Miami, Florida. The flip property was in our market in Colorado Springs, actually Cascade, Colorado. And we're partnering up with Smith, Sell My House to Smith, which is a competitor of mine. But the guy lives right down the road, Jeremy Darter, my friend, that's my competitor. Guess what? We're flipping a house together because who better to manage that property than the guy that lives right down the road? I told him, what do you think if I bought it and you renovate it and flip it? And we'll split the profits 50-50. And he said, okay. What a great business we're in.
Yeah, we're friends with all of our competitors. And I say that friends is in really friends.
Yeah, like we go to their birthday parties and stuff and out to dinner on the weekends.
There you go. You go. And no one would believe that. Everyone hears the Landsharks. What are you, like stealing people's land? No, it's just a funny name. It's really cool. Sharks swim and eat all day, and that's what we got to do. But no other business have I ever seen. I haven't been in too many businesses. I was in the military and real estate, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I digress.
That's a similar story to me. Yeah. Real estate and military. And that's kind of where it goes. Brent, for those of our audience that maybe haven't come across you before or don't know anything about you, can you kind of give us a rundown of your story, where you came from, how you got started, and kind of what you're doing now?
Yeah, I grew up in a small town called Okeechobee, Florida. The biggest producer of income was cattle. And I always wanted to be somebody to be proud of, make my parents proud. And I always gravitated towards real estate. And I always had an entrepreneurship itch. My grandfather, gave us this broken down lawnmower. And I fixed it, me and my dad. I started mowing grass and then built that into a lawn service. By the time I was graduating high school, it's time to hire somebody to help me, mow all this lawns. And my dad actually came out with me and helped build the business even more. And about 2007 timeframe, a couple years after high school, I got my real estate license because I thought that was going to be my path to becoming a great investor, because I thought you needed a real estate license for that. Well, within about a month of having my license, I found the brokerage and bought a house. Like that same week I joined the brokerage. One of my sister agents listed it. I bought it. I had to borrow the earnest money deposit from great grandma. And I was like, look, grandma, don't worry. I'm going to pay you back because I'm going to get a commission for buying this house. And I'm going to turn it into a rental. I'm going to be a real estate tycoon. So I paid her back. And she actually threatened me. She said, if you don't pay me back, it's going to come out of your inheritance. And great grandma is no longer with us. She's in heaven now. And I never saw that inheritance she was talking about, but an old German woman, she was pretty smart. So I paid her back. But,
I like that. That's funny.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We rented the house out. I leave the business to my father. I moved to the coast. Me and my wife moved to the coast, and I am now driving people around in my car for like weeks at a time, trying to rent properties to them because the real estate market sucked. It was kicking me in the teeth every day. I'm like having to buy a new pair of shoes every month because I'm door knocking, doing everything they tell me to do. And I'm not making any money. It got so bad. I'm paying credit cards with credit cards, had to tell my landlord, I can no longer afford the house. Please let me out of the lease. He said, no, just put it on the back end. I said, no, sir, that sounds like a reverse mortgage to me or a way to get in trouble. So we moved in with my in-laws, and had a mentor of mine that introduced me to Jim Rohn, not personally, but through cassette tapes. And I had to transfer the cassette tapes to CDs, and I was like downloading Jim Rohn in my mind. So I learned so much. And that same mentor said, go join the military, join the Air Force, go to school, go to college, get a new start. Because real estate's not very good right now, as you can tell. Like I'm living with my in-laws. I have a business, or I had a business. I have a real estate license, have a rental property. And here I am like 24 years old moving in with my in-laws. It was quite humbling. So I did. I went, joined the military. I tried the Air Force. They wouldn't allow me in. Luckily, that recruiter said, hey, go next door to the Army. They'll take anybody. And I'm a good, like, I can take direction. Like, you tell me what to do as long as it sounds right, I'm going to pull the trigger and take action. So I joined the Army, in basic training very shortly after, then Afghanistan for a year, then back for a year, then Afghanistan for a year. So I took a couple years break while I was out of the country from real estate. But as soon as I got back in 2013, I'm back in real estate, buying rentals. Eventually got into wholesaling, kind of like the reverse opposite, actually. But I had to wholesale some houses because I was so far in debt, man.
Sure.
All my credit cards were maxed out. And then I stumbled on land. And that has been an absolute holy grail of passive income. It gave me financial freedom and time freedom and geography freedom, and allowed me out of the military. That was my why. Like, that's why I built all this. So here we are. Sorry for the long introduction, but
no, I think it's important for people to know where you came from so they can appreciate where you're at. And you did a good job of explaining that. Well, let's break it down. Why is land and wholesaling land? One, how are you making it a passive income play?
Yeah.
Two, why is it what you love?
Well, I told you I took the break from real estate. When I got back in 2013, I actually bought the house next to the college. Like, it literally was adjacent to the college. I was a recent bachelor. My second deployment, my wife was like, I'm done with this. I'm out of here. So I moved back to Florida by myself. And I'm renting out the rooms, making a fortune, man. Like, the Army's paying me my basic allowance for housing, which was, I don't remember what it was, like $1,600 a month. And then I rented out 2 of the rooms. Funny story, side note, one of the guys was mining Bitcoin back in 2013. And he tried to pay me for about 1.5 years in Bitcoin. And I was too stupid to take it.
Oh, wow.
I would have had like $27 million in Bitcoin, but that's another podcast. But I'm making $100 a month to live in this house. And I'm like walking to school. Not really. I would drive my car, but because like, no cool kid walks to school, right? And I was the old guy in college. So I'm like really close to the college, making money. I do a quick refinance, pull more cash out. And then I met the woman of my dreams. And then we got married shortly after. The Army takes me to Colorado Springs. So we bought another house and then also a triplex right down the road from that. And I'm getting to how I found the land. Now I have a huge why. And I didn't understand it at the time. You know how everyone talks about find your why? Well, I'll tell you what my why was. It was, I don't want another wife like saying, hit the road. I'm hitting the road, Jack. And now I have a kid involved. Like we now have a brand new baby. And my why was I was scared to death, like history is going to repeat itself because I'm always gone, always away, always training, about to deploy again. So I was like, whatever it takes, I'm going to replace my salary, which is about, really, I didn't replace my salary. I replaced my expenses, which was about $6,000 a month. That was my freedom number to get me out of the bondage of being told where to be every single day, what to wear. I need to get a haircut and shave every day, yada, yada. JD, I know you know it because you're in the military as well. That was my why. So I was wholesaling houses. It was working okay. I was starting to build a team. And I heard about a guy on a podcast when I was searching for answers, listening to podcasts like the Real Estate Jam podcast, like finding answers. I heard about a guy just flipping land and making like doubling his money overnight. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm mailing houses and mobile homes and multifamily. Why am I avoiding the land? So I mail a postcard, a simple postcard, and I'll even provide that to your listeners if they want it. I bought tens of millions of dollars worth of real estate with this postcard, but I mailed them a simple postcard, and these were all tax delinquent land in this county. I mailed the whole entire county list, and my phone blew up. I must have received 80 phone calls. And I was still an Army officer, so I didn't have much time to call them back. I called 20 people back. And out of those 20, I did 2 deals in like 2 weeks. And I sold them within 2 weeks. And I did way more than double my money. And on the second one, I seller financed it. The down payment from my buyer got my investment completely out of the transaction. And I'm looking at like the 8 rentals I've got. None of my money is out. Like all my money's in it. I'm in debt. Like it's going to take me like 30 years to cash flow. However, I had plenty of tax write-offs, but that changed the game for me. And I had $400 a month coming in, and I was like, I can just keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this. And I'll hit that 6. I mean, I only had to do 12 of them, 12 of those deals to replace my expenses. And in 9 months, I was right at $9,000 a month in land income.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. And we can definitely see the value of doing that. Selling it on terms and getting that money back allows you to put that money back into marketing, so you can just turn it over and over again, and your passive income is covering all your expenses. It makes a lot of sense. I think that a lot of people, because they haven't bought land or dealt with land or learned how to comp land, I think is where they get scared. And why it's so difficult. We see a lot of people call in from our regular mailers, and they have vacant land, and we look for areas where the builders are going to want to build. But I don't think that's necessarily the only place that you can wholesale land, right? So what is it that you're looking for when these motivated sellers come in? Are you just getting the lowest price possible? Are you comping their parcel out? What are you doing when you make contact with a motivated seller?
Yes, sir. You got it. And if you want, I could tell the listeners exactly how I'm buying land and comping land and figuring out what it's worth. But yes, that's it. I am getting land at a discount and I'm turning around and selling it at a profit. At the end of the day, that's all this is. This works for bicycles. You find a bicycle on the side of the road, you clean it up a little bit, and you sell it for a profit. That's exactly what we're doing with the land, except for not cleaning it. You know, it's already clean. There's nothing on it to clean. Well, most of the time. Yeah. But, you know, so basically I use mail campaigns. I like to send out what I call LOLs, my land offer letters. And we literally laugh out loud every time we get one back, because it's usually for a piece of land less than 50 cents on the dollar.
Sure.
And then sometimes the sellers or the landowners laugh out loud because they're insulted and they don't like it. But we buy it, we get it under contract at a discount, and we have a couple different strategies. We're either going to sell it to that builder, flip it to that builder, or assign our contract to that builder that's building homes, or we're going to buy it at a discount and put it on the MLS and wholesale it, really, you know, on the MLS, or we're going to buy it and still put it on the MLS and seller finance it. That's my favorite method, because if you look at the land that sits on the market forever, it's usually because someone wants cash for it, and no one's walking around with $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 cash. But mostly everyone can come up with $399, $599, $799 a month. And I love doing 30-year mortgages because the banks do it. The banks are the biggest, nicest, prettiest buildings in most all of our cities. They've got it figured out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the exit strategies that has been beneficial is if you're buying a piece of land inside the neighborhood, contact the neighbors and see if they want to buy that land. I think that's a huge push.
Got it.
Because nobody wants to, or everybody wants to control who their neighbors are, or a lot of people don't want neighbors, so they'll jump on it.
That's so true. I mean, I'll tell you, I sold my first, I like to say all the time, I sold my first 10 land deals on Craigslist, but now that you just mentioned that, I probably sold the first several between Craigslist and a sign on the land. And here's what's cool about military. They give us these free boxes because they move us every 2 years. So we don't have to pay anything for the boxes. But your garage fills up with these things. So I would write on the boxes like land, will finance, my phone number, and I would put it on the land, these boxes. And as soon as it rains or snows, like they're garbage. But I would put it on the stake or on the tree, sometimes on the neighbor's mailbox. And guess who would call me? The neighbors. And they would want to buy this land. And sometimes it wasn't even buildable land because it wasn't big enough as far as square footage, the minimum square footage. And it was like my early version of neighbor letters is what I call them.
Yeah, that's a really great strategy. I think that this is a really, because you can still find these deals the same way that you're finding your regular wholesale deals. So driving for dollars, the county website, especially in Florida, and I know there's plenty of other markets across the country, the county assessor's office website is phenomenal for identifying a vacant land. I think that's a huge way. How are you finding the list to market to?
Yeah, for a while there, I was using basically the county treasurer's office and getting the tax delinquent. But the problem with that is it's so small, you can exhaust that list very quickly. Sure. And then I went to PropStream and I started pulling like the entire county list for the land. And then I started using a website called priced.com that was developed by a couple Air Force guys that are still in the Air Force, but they buy land. And what's cool about priced.com is they really focused on land and they helped people comp it. They showed what the estimated value was. Now, is it always dead accurate? No, it's because it's raw land. So I still have my VA kind of look at each line with that, but price.com, PropStream, or the county assessor's office. There's so many ways to get in touch with vacant landowners. And at the end of the day, this business is not complicated, just like wholesaling. You got to talk to the sellers and you got to talk to the buyers.
Yeah. I think too, that because a lot of people don't know how to comp it because they're scared, like we talked about before, it can, not always, but it can oftentimes be a less competitive market than some of some of the single family 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses. Everybody that has ever even heard of wholesaling is targeting those properties. I don't think there's quite as many people targeting the vacant land.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes I will, I'm about to let the cat out of the bag. Like I'm about to probably wreck my business here. But sometimes we buy houses too. We buy apartment complexes, we buy mobile homes, we'll buy anything that we can make a profit on. But sometimes the way we buy the house is because we mail that landowner and he's like, look, I get letters all the time. I get phone calls. I get text. Are you the owner of the 123 Main Street? I get blah, 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 blah. He's like, but you sent me a land mailer for this piece of land. If you buy the land, you can have the house too. And we bought these houses and they've got like stacks of postcards in the house. And I was just like, I'm telling you what, like, it's almost like that's a home run because we nailed the land and ended up getting the land and the house because we took care of a couple problems for this seller.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess that the reason that somebody's willing to sell it at a discount is because they have one of the pillars of motivation or some sort of distress. What, and you spoke specifically about tax liens, but what are some of the other forms of distress that you're finding or targeting for the landowners?
I was talking to a lady yesterday. She inherited a couple acres on a major highway in Arizona. And it wasn't really a big stressor, but like she inherited this land, and guess what's allowed on it? There's already septic systems and electricity for RV park. And the stressor was, what do I do with this type thing? Another, stressors, my husband and I went on vacation one time to Colorado. It was just so beautiful out there. And we bought this land. One day we're going to build a cabin. And that one day turned into 25 years later. My husband's now, passed away. We had a great marriage, but we just never got to that cabin. Our children all live in Florida. So we've been paying the taxes. We're actually about to lose it, or we're not about to lose it. We're just tired of paying the taxes. Do you want it? And I mean, we've gotten land for free that way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's
awesome.
Great. If somebody wants to start out going after vacant land properties, where should they start? If I'm not asking you to give a free coaching seminar, but what direction should we point them in to get the ball moving? What action steps could they take now to start seeing results in the next 30, 60, 90 days?
No, let's get your listeners some land deals right now. I mean, and I give this stuff for free all the time on my YouTube channel. If you search me on YouTube, Brent Bowers, I give like everything on this channel. So let's give it right here for JD and Melissa's listeners. So first place I say, you want to find your playground, and I recommend your playground being just like mine was when I started. I started with very little time and no money. So I just assumed everyone was like me, right? No time, no money, and a couple and a baby, a brand new baby that keeps us up all night. So start in your own backyard. I recommend within about a 2 to 2.5 hour radius. That first deal I talked to you guys about, that first deal I ended up buying for $285. I've said this so many times, I can't believe I messed it up. $285. And guess what? That seller gave me the number. He was a retired CPA. He traded it for years ago for some tax work he had done for a individual. He's like, look, give me $285. It's yours. And I was like, are you kidding me? So me and my wife and our newborn baby drove to this land. It's about 2 hours away on a Saturday, had no clue what it was worth. And luckily I was close enough to get there. Long story short, called the real estate office that was down the street, and she helped me comp the land because I had no clue how to figure out what this land was worth, why it was only $285. Long story short, it wasn't buildable, but that realtor knew the whole story. And I was calling her to get what my 30-day blowout price was. I wanted to list it with her on the MLS and get it done now. I didn't want to leave my $285. So that was a lot of money, diapers and, new house we're fixing up. Well, she bought it for me for $5,000, closed in like 3 days. Wham, bam, I was paid and very happy. But that's how that one started. So step number one, pick your playground, 2.5 hour radius. Step number two, find landowners. PropStream, county assessor's website, priced.com, list source. Want to just pick your method of, a lot of the wholesalers listening to this channel, you probably already have a list provider. So use what you've got. Number three, send a mailer. And I can give you the mailers right now. If you want me to share the link to the postcard I was talking about.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
Head on over to the Landsharks, that's plural.com /postcard, thelandsharks.com /postcard. And that is the postcard I use. If you want the LOL, it's the same website /LOL. So you can have both of my mail pieces. And then start mail. Here's the trick. Here's the trick that most people won't do. They'll download the postcard. They'll download the LOL. They'll pull the list. But you have to take the next step, and that is mail this list, mail that postcard, mail the land offer letter, mail that list. And I say at least 20 a day, no less than 20 people a day, and get your phone ringing and start talking to people, start looking at deals, have 10 or 12 of them to look at, and pick the one that's going to make you money quick. the path of least resistance so you can get some revenue in the first position, get some revenue in your bank, get that thing under contract and get a 90-day contract. You heard me, 90-day contract. How much do I put down for earnest? $10. Who cares about the earnest money deposit? We are buying the land from the seller. Whatever it takes, get it done. And then start marketing your contract. Or maybe you've got the money to buy it, but I want you to market that contract, because if you have a doubt in your mind that, am I paying too much for the land? Or what if I get stuck with this? Well, I can tell you how to alleviate both of those doubts is have a buyer in line first.
Sure.
And then buy the land. How do you know what it's worth though? Well, you got Zillow, you've got Redfin, you've got landwatch.com. You can see what the stuff's selling for. Compare apples to apples, stay within about a mile or two radius, call the land specialist real estate. Well, who's the land specialist real estate agent? The land specialist real estate agent. Well, you look at Zillow or Redfin, you see the solds in the last 3 to 6 months. The land specialist real estate agent are the ones that you see come up more than once. Or call them all. I don't know. That's how you figure out what it's worth. And find someone that wants to either pay cash or give you a down payment large enough to get your investment out of the deal. And I charge 9% interest, and I try and go for as long as possible. If I could do a 30-year mortgage for some of these parcels, I will do it, because here's the thing. If you have a $200,000 mortgage at 6% interest for 30 years, if you look at the amortization schedule, the payback on that, you're going to pay back over $420,000. Is that really 6%? It's called compounding interest. So that is how I 10x my money on pretty much almost all land deals.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, if somebody just followed your plan right there, they could be making money within the next 90 days for sure, without a doubt.
And quit your job in less than a year.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that is absolutely. Well, you've provided a lot of value today, and we really appreciate that for our listeners and for us, right? There's things that we talked about that we could implement in our own business. But if some of the people listening wanted to find out more about you, they can go to your YouTube channel. Where else can they go to see what you have to offer and learn more about what you guys got going on over there?
Yeah, I mean, if any of the listeners, check out the YouTube, search Brent Bowers. I can be found on Instagram. My handle is Brent L as in Lima, Brent L Bowers. Or if someone's interested in getting started, wants to, book a call, schedule a call, head on over to the landsharks.com and schedule a call.
And Brent, that's awesome. We really appreciate you coming on today. I'm sure that we're going to be implementing your stuff right away. And we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you so much. That was super great info.
My pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, check out our website, therealestatejam.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Estate Jam. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at therealestatejam@gmail.com. See you next episode.